Hello everyone, John12 back here again with another video, and yes, I know, it's another top 5 pick. I'm doing another Dragon Ball Z top 5, and I know, but what can I say? I mean, like, I can talk about Dragon Ball Z in my sleep, so let's just get down to it. Today I'm doing my top 5 Dragon Ball Z fillers. I don't know, I kind of feel like there's like this misconception in the anime community that filler scenes are stupid. People need to realize that this does not make sense. It's just stupid, because if you want the manga, then read the manga. Don't watch the anime. If you're like, oh, fillers are not canon and I can't take it serious because there's so much filler, then you shouldn't be watching the anime. But people like to be stupid in their own special way, so let's just put them in the corner and just talk about the enjoyment of fillers, because the great thing about fillers is that it doesn't destroy the setting of the story that you're watching. It adds development and depth to the story, and of course also does its fair share of creating new twists and plot points to what we're watching. So that's what the great thing about filler. And Dragon Ball Z, of course, the original Dragon Ball Z, not Dragon Ball Z Kai, of course, has tons of filler. So let's just get right down to it. Starting up at number 5 has to go to the Princess Snake scene. Most of the Snake Way Dragon Ball Z Goku stuff is kind of filler. His whole journey on Snake Way getting to King Kai's planet is mostly filler. Most of it. And I just find the Princess Snake thing really hysterical and funny. Like, the whole chemistry between the two characters is so hysterical and entertaining. It just adds so much of this really comedic twist to the Saiyan Saga, because the Saiyan Saga is not really that comedic, it's really serious, and it's considered obviously the most violent of the Saiyan Sagas. I mean, the Saiyan Sagas, the Dragon Ball Z sagas. The hell am I talking about? But the Princess Snake scene is so hysterical. I mean, like, she's this character who's, of course, like this snake woman who can shapeshift into, like, the snake from the Snake Way. And, of course, has this whole really weird development where she has, like, the only way to put it is to be bland with you people. And it's like, essentially, she's just a sexually frustrated character who has this infatuation with Goku, who, of course, what can you do? But Goku obviously has no need for that, because Goku, like, I don't know, like, he's one of those characters that you can consider asexual, but that's just Goku. Goku doesn't care about those kind of things. He just has to be on a path, and if he's not on that path, he doesn't really care about other things other than the topic at hand. So of course that's interesting. But it just creates like this really comedic, entertaining sequence between the two, because obviously Princess Snake is like the sexually frustrated character who's trying to get some from Goku, and Goku doesn't understand it, and he's trying to like get to it back on the path, and it's just so funny and weird, and it kind of provokes like this topic to be debated as to whether or not women are trying to get men off the path that they're trying to do through sex. Which is interesting, but it's one of those things that is debated on another topic. It's not really needed here, but I just like to point it out. It's just fucking hysterical. But let's move off of that, go to number 4, the King Vegeta story. King Vegeta is not really seen or like done really in the manga. I mean, like, he's mentioned obviously, but he's not really seen, and we don't really get the sequence of his story. But I think it's good because you get this whole development of Vegeta's character, because obviously at this point he's kind of like Darth Vader. Like, if there was no Goku, there would not be a Vegeta, because Vegeta would just want to destroy everything and have it for himself, so he wouldn't give a shit. But it's just entertaining to see that type of stuff, because even though it's filler, it really adds this depth that Vegeta needed, because it shows as to why he hates Frieza so much, and why he has this thing about Saiyan heritage, which is interesting. It's just one of those things that's entertaining and great for the story. So that's just something I really like. Moving off of that, going to number 3 has to go to the pendulum sequence with Tien, Chaozu, Yamcha, and Krillin, where there's this part in the story in the Saiyan Saga where essentially the Z Warriors end up going to Kami's lookout tower, of course, to seek special training from him, kind of similar to how Goku seeked him out and had this this development training sequence, obviously for preparation for the Piccolo Jr. saga with his fight in the tournament. So it's really entertaining to see that the Z Warriors got their special training in a sense. But there's really this interesting sequence where the guys go to to the pendulum room and seek out this type of special training in this dimension, where they end up going to the Saiyan planet, the supposed Saiyan planet, which of course has been done to death, and well, not to death, but has been seen in various pieces of DBZ media. So of course it changes a lot. But that's my favorite. My favorite depiction of Saiyan culture, because even though there's not really that many Saiyans seen, most of them are dead and you just see the corpses. It's really fucking awesome because you see like the architecture and like the statues and like armor that they used to wear back then. It kind of makes you think of like how Saiyan culture really was. You know, like that's how it should look like. You know, like they have these really big Gothic towers and cities where, you know, these motherfuckers. I think there's a clear example of that in the statue. You know, when you look at that statue, because there's a sequence where Yamcha and Tien are commenting on the battlegrounds, where it's kind of like, oh well, seems like we kind of missed the battle here, and you see the statue where it's a Saiyan holding a sword and he's just yelling with like he's just doing like a Saiyan roar kind of. And I think that's like a clear depiction of Saiyan culture. Like, if you want to know how Saiyans were, just look at that sequence and look at that statue. That says it all, you know, like, it shows how, like, Saiyans were so fucking engulfed in, like, this need to fight, and, like, they dedicated not only their daily routine, but, like, their culture and their society to just straight up fighting, and like the need to fight. And we all know this, obviously. If without fighting, Saiyans have no like real existence. They need to fight. They have this desire to fight. But I think that statue says it all, and that whole sequence is just amazing, and it really adds this depth to the story, because there's a sequence after that where obviously they come back. They're not dead. They're actually alive, and they have this conversation with Kami, and Kami clearly states that the Saiyans that they fought in the pendulum room were obviously way weaker than the Saiyans that are going to be coming to Earth. And it's like this really awe moment where it's like, oh shit, like the Saiyans are really badass. Like, if they're stronger than the Saiyans that we fought just a few seconds ago, which we obviously could not beat at all, then we're in real trouble. But you have this need of like, I'm going to take up the challenge and I'm ready for it. Even though you know there's no chance in hell. But I just love that whole sequence, and it's just entertaining in and of itself. But moving off of that, going to number 2 has to go to the Man Saga. Majority of all the Man Saga is entertaining, and it's filler too, because it's just like all of it is just like sequences between, you know, what happened between, you know, obviously the Cell Saga and like what happens in the Tournament Saga. But you have this really good, entertaining stuff where Goku's like journeys in the afterlife and his whole fight with Pikkon and all that entertaining stuff. And of course, you get like the Saiyaman stuff, and I find that entertaining. A lot of people don't like that, but I find it awesome. I love the whole like Gohan stuff, being the great Saiyaman and stuff. I think that whole shit is awesome. I think people like to underrate that a lot. I think it's way more entertaining than the Buu fights, in my opinion. But that's just me. But seeing as how that's my number 2, let's see. Let's name some honorable mentions. The Garlic Jr. Saga, that's filler. I find that entertaining. Most of the sequences on the Namek Saga between Vegeta and the Nameks, I think is also entertaining, because it also shows the brutality of Vegeta and how he deals with things. I think is also entertaining. I also like specific fillers from the fight between Goku and Frieza, because a lot of it's fillers here and there. You know, like this is where things kind of get sketchy, but most of it is entertaining too. And you know, like there's just various other types of like really great filler stuff. And if you guys want to know what those are, just either look it up or just watch the anime and have the manga at hand to see the difference. But let's move off of that and go to my number 1 filler moments, which has to go to Gohan's journeys in the Saiyan Saga. There's specific episodes that are dedicated straight to Gohan in the Saiyan Saga prior to the fight with the Saiyans. And I love them. They're so entertaining. A lot of people like to look down on them, but I find them awesome. You know, like, they're really great, entertaining, and beautiful storylines, you know, because you have the sequences with Gohan, with the giant robot and the dinosaur, and you kind of get this feeling of, like, this is how polar opposite him and Goku were, because obviously Goku had, when he was a child, obviously he had this need to save people, and he did not. He despised seeing people that he personally loved. He hated to see them die. And when it did happen, he had this anger towards him, or towards anybody who was the cause of it. And you kind of see that in Gohan, and it kind of like parallels their stories. And I think you needed those type of stories because it really made Gohan more important in the storyline, and made him more of an important character, and really gave him depth. Because at that point, if you didn't have those type of stuff, and then Gohan would have just been this really annoying kid who just cried a lot. So I think it's just great to have those type of stuff, and it's just great storytelling. When you rewatch those episodes in the Saiyan Saga, they're some of the best episodes, and they're not even fucking canon from the manga, and that just shows how great fillers are. They're just really awesome pieces of story. The strangest robot and the end of Snake Way type stuff. Just watch that. No, not End of Snake Way. Strangest Robot and A New Friend. I got them mixed up. Those are just awesome episodes, and it just show like how far Gohan would go to save a friend. But not only that, you kind of see him fail, and in his failure, you kind of see like his need to want to get better. Because obviously he hates to see people die, and it kind of just parallels throughout the series of like showing of different sequences like that, like the Android 16 thing where Android 16 dies and triggers Gohan to become a Super Saiyan 2, because it kind of parallels, because it kind of shows it's like there's another person that he could not save, and he just couldn't do anything. And I just love that type of stuff, and it's just entertaining. So tell me what you guys think. Did you like my top 5? Of course it's subjective, so tell me your top 5. What's your top 5 favorite best filler scenes from Dragon Ball Z anime? Of course, people don't like filler. I personally have no big deal with it, especially when it comes to Dragon Ball Z. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and definitely come back for more top